So here we are in early May. The NHL playoffs are a few weeks away. And that annual rite of spring where the Maple Leafs will either choke, not make the playoffs, not get past the first round, or the fans will suffer delusions not seen since Elvis's first wife. Look it up. We'll continue. As it looks right now in the North Division, or the Canadian Division, the Toronto Maple Leafs, who have a strong team this year, will be playing the injury-riddled Montreal Canadiens in the first round in the series to determine technically the quarterfinalists overall, or the divisional finalists for the North Division. Now, a little bit of history. If you're American, you may not know this, but you're Canada, you probably do. 54 years ago, in a miracle not seen since Capifeo Night Gallery, the Toronto Maple Leafs, through Dave Keon, who stopped Belleville in the series, defeated Montreal Canadiens in six games. The sixth game was at home to win the Stanley Cup and to stop Montreal's run for a possible 5 straight, like between 56 and 1960. Ever since then, Toronto Maple Leafs fans have suffered under the cranial trauma that they are Canada's team. They're not even Toronto's team anymore. Guess who that is? They're not even Ontario's team. Guess who that is? Little history for you. Toronto has only won one playoff series over the last 2 decades. What happens if they lose to Montreal in the first round? It could happen because Montreal, clutch and grab, they'll do the best of them. Montreal has nothing to lose here. If Toronto wins 3 straight or 4 straight or whatever series is determined, COVID's still up in the air. They're the better team this season. You can't be in first place and have a better team. But what if they don't beat Montreal? Where did he go this time? As you know, Moses was 40 years in the wilderness. They've been 54 years. They had 2 opportunities to win a Stanley Cup in the 1970s. What was their roadblock? The 2 roadblocks. The Flyers bet them up mid-70s, right? And Montreal knocked them off in the semifinals in 1978 and the finals in 1979, and people were still delusional back then. I've had people in my own family said the Leafs in 1978 were a better team than the Habs. Fiction can be fun. Like I said, I wish I could lie to you and say that Toronto's losing. The only thing I can compare it with is the Cleveland Browns of National Football League, not the Otto Green Browns, not the Jim Brown Browns, but the Browns that faded in the 70s and 80s had all the big losses. Okay. In Canada, anybody takes up the Toronto Maple Leafs, why? Show me where you won anything. They always point to us, Montreal hasn't won the Cup in since 93. Well, yeah, but we still won it 26 times. We're still a top 8 contender every year. It just recently, and don't forget, they got all these new management people in, from throughout Babcock and everybody else. They couldn't do it then. They couldn't do it last year. What's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen, if, let's say, the final game, they're tied late, let's say Montreal scores. See, Toronto fans can't kill themselves because if you jump off the cliff, they're not going to hit the rocks below. They're all over the place. The last chance he ever had was a cup was 1993, the bad call against the Leafs, from Kerry to Hare Fraser. They could have played Montreal, but they always say, we played Montreal in the final, we would have won. Well, there's no guarantee. Gretzky played Montreal in the final, look what happened there. The goals to the form to bet him. So, this is what's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. If you're not a Toronto fan, not a Montreal fan, go to the Tim Hortons the day after Toronto loses, or maybe Montreal wins, and see what the white racists that take up for the Leafs, they're all over New Brunswick, the core, and PAB followers. You know who you are, because for some, Toronto is a white racist team. No joke, by the way. Why would you take up for the Canadians or the Nordiques? Now, just listen to what they're going to say the next day. Same thing all the time. Toronto Maple Leafs got a good team. Let them play the series and the best team will win. But if Toronto loses, I don't want anybody whining, say the referees won it for Montreal, or we should have bet them. Montreal has Carey Price out, they have Brendan Gallagher out. The young players, some young players are not doing it. Austin Matthews is a hot player for Toronto. Yeah, Toronto has dominated Montreal pretty well all season, but there's no guarantee in the playoffs. It's a new season. Ask the fans of the Boston Bruins in 1971 what happened. Ask the fans of the Nordiques in 84 what happened. Ask the Rangers in 79 what happened. Ask the Islanders of 93 what happened. They tell you. Never count out the Montreal Canadiens, and if you overrate the Toronto Maple Leafs, you're just basically in your own delusion. I'm a Montreal Canadiens fan all my life. I've been a sports reporter for 38 years. I don't write obituaries unless I have to. Every year it got to a point Toronto would not make the playoffs or choke, and my higher-ups would say, can you do something on Toronto not winning? I said, I'm just going to recycle my article from last year. I just have to change the date snap and the time snap, Thursday or whatever. Anyway, my prediction for the Montreal series, if they win, pain. Toronto fans, there's not a aspirin big enough that will take away the humiliation, because Montreal, if you look at the standings, if you had double conference, I think in the Eastern Conference they're like 9th or 10th overall, even 11th. Maybe they're not even a top 16 team in the league. The Montreal Canadiens are the worst playoff team this season. So if you lose to the worst playoff team and you just have a CH in the front, there's no Dave Keon's going to save you, no pyramid power. Anyway, if you don't like what I'm saying, too bad, look it up. And put it this way. You know as well, any hockey fan, Toronto finds a way to lose. Either because of Harold Ballard, bad trades, bad management, bad divisional play, whatever. You look at the stats for Toronto Maple Leafs. The Wikipedia said season by season. Look at all the blank boxes. But look at it closely. How many playoff series has Toronto won since maybe, 1986? You count them. And of course, they were lucky to get in semifinals a few times. Anybody can be lucky sometimes. But they're a quarterfinal team. They've never been a frozen four team. They never have been. And this is not the 6-team NHL. The worst thing that happened to Maple Leafs were the league turning from 6 teams to 12. Because they haven't won since, have they? Montreal has won lots. Edmonton has won lots. Even Calgary has won. Vancouver came close. Ottawa came close. Since 1967, the only sniff he had was against Gilmore, and according to Kerry Fraser, bad eyesight, he didn't see the blood on their chin. That's the way it goes. If you like or don't like my podcast here, give us a no like, a like, an uncomment, a comment, or an unsubscribe or subscribe. This is how I see it, and if you don't like it, read the NHL registry, read Wikipedia. If you're a first-time Toronto fan, age 12, listening to this, go to your dad and say, Dad, can you show me the Wikipedia that fool was saying on the podcast? Read it. It's all there black and white. By the way, for 20 years we put up with Hockey Night in Canada, Toronto being the main game. Where has it gotten them? Cost CBC $1 billion. Did it remember the year that he put all the money behind the Maple Leafs and Hockey Night in Canada didn't make the playoffs? How many CBC reporters? This has cost people jobs. People in my profession, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, have yourself a great evening, and don't forget, Happy May Day. Have a good day. Bye.